Okay, hi guys. So this is going to be a response to a video that I've just recently seen today from Adam Ringham, Chris Kirkhoff, and Talia something or other, who are all distributors for the company Coseva, who sell a product called TRS, which is a synthetic zeolite, although that apparently is a point that they've missed. This is going to be a quick response, and I'll probably do a more in-depth and more thought-out response another time. So to begin with, Adam seems a little bit butthurt that some people are saying unpleasant things about TRS and Coseva, and he seems to think that that's a terrible thing. Hey, Jane, he seems to think it's a terrible thing that anyone should knock another product. Well, I've seen him knock the hell out of vaccines, as I do. And I think that's a really good thing to do because it's a product that harms, right? So I don't really understand the thinking how you can't knock another product that's a deceptive, lying, deceitful product that's harming people. Doing good as well. I'm not saying that TRS doesn't do any good, but it also harms people, and that, at least from anecdotal evidence, we have no studies, but it would appear to be harming people because of the synthetic nature of it, according to the reports that we hear, which they obviously block in their groups because they control the narratives. Now, I challenge Adam and Chris and any of the others to a public debate where, frankly, I will destroy them. And they won't do it because of that. They like to keep their comments behind closed doors so that they can sell a concept to people that isn't challenged. So I'm challenging it. Obviously, most of their people, most of their customers won't see this. So it'd be great if you could share it if you're listening. So anyway, and I will post a video if people want to see the video. It's a 25 or 30-minute video with him and a few others trying to defend the indefensible, because they've got a huge salary, 20,000-30,000 a month that they're making, and they're trying to defend it. And they're hurt by some of the truths that are being told by myself, by Lawrence and others. So anyway, so at the beginning, Lawrence starts off by talking about, he did his research on TRS, and he wanted to make sure it was safe, and how he decided it was safe by he used it personally for a year to make sure it was safe. Well, let me respond to that. I also wanted to know if PBX, which is what I recommend, was safe. And how I determined that was by looking at the peer-reviewed research, of which there's loads, by independent researchers that have shown this type of zeolite to be safe. That's how I did it. Okay, now you couldn't do that, Adam, because there is no research for your zeolite. So you're relying on your own body, and we have to trust that you're telling the truth about what happened. And even if it did no harm, it was perfect for you, a one-person study, Adam, is not a study, especially not a biased person who makes a lot of money selling it. I don't trust that. Okay, so if I want to know something's safe, I want to look at the research and the studies that are done on that product if it's something that might not be safe. And I've done that with PBX. It is safe. We have the research, we have the studies, and Adam, you don't. So that's the first thing that I wanted to comment on. Okay, so the mind-boggling, unbelievable argument that they put forward to try and say that their product is not synthetic and we're misrepresenting it by calling it synthetic is unbelievable. Guys, these people are lying to you. It's totally synthetic. Do you know how I know it's synthetic? Well, first of all, because the company that makes it tells us it's synthetic. They've actually now removed that from their back office. They've now removed it as of the last day or two, but the company admit and have told us that the product is synthetic. Okay, I can prove that. I have the screenshots. If you guys don't believe it, I can back it up, right? Secondly, the guy who's, by the way, a proven fraud that created the product, Tracy Holford, he's called Dr. Tracy Holford, but he's not a doctor. That's a fraud. That can be proven as well. So the guy that created it, he says it's synthetic. Okay, and I can prove that. I have him on video saying that. So we have the company Coseva saying it's synthetic. We have the creator who made it saying it's synthetic. Also, everybody in the entire industry calls zeolite that's made in a lab synthetic. Now, these guys don't like using that term because it damages, because most people into natural health understand that synthetics into the body is not a good idea. They don't like that. I know behind the scenes conversations that they've had. What can we do? This synthetic is causing us a problem. Can we come? And they've talked, maybe we can call it manufactured, or maybe a lab made. They want to get away from the synthetic label. Well, they can't, because that is what it is. It is synthetic. Now, they try and claim it's made in a similar way to water is turned into ice when you put it in a fridge. That's kind of what they're doing. No, it's not. I don't totally know and understand the process at which it goes through. I've been told, and I don't know if this is true, but there's some pretty heavy chemicals involved in making their product. That may not be true, but I would challenge them to prove how they make it. And actually, I don't even believe they make it, because I have good information, at least at the beginning, that they were buying their zeolite from a third party who was already creating it for the tire industry, and they just bought it from them. And that was how it started. I don't know if anything's changed, but I don't believe that they're making it. I asked them to prove it, and I don't believe that they're not using that. They're just like water into ice kind of thing. They're just taking aluminum and taking silica and putting them together, and they just that's not how you make it. But if they want to prove me wrong on that, I'm very open to that, because I honestly have no proof as to how it's made. I've just got inside information which might not be true. But the fact is, the bottom line is, it 100% is definitely synthetic. All the scientists would call it synthetic. The person that made it, the company that has been selling it, all of them admit synthetic. The only people who don't want to acknowledge that are Chris and Adam and anyone else who wants to make a lot of money selling it, and synthetic is a label that they don't want attached to it. So this stuff is synthetic. If somebody wants proof of anything that I've just said, that Coseva has said it's synthetic, that Dr. Tracy Holford says it's synthetic, etc., I can prove that. Although they're now disassociating and starting to remove that wording from their site because it's causing a lot of problems, it absolutely is synthetic. Now, the next thing that he's arguing about on this video, hi Sue. So the next thing he's arguing about is purity of TRS. Okay, so let me just make some comments on that. So first of all, zeolite by its very nature is made up of aluminum and silica, those two elements. Okay, now people that don't understand zeolite sometimes freak out over the aluminum part of it, but it's not at all dangerous because it's bonded. There's a big difference between bonded toxins and free toxins. So you need to understand this for it to make a little bit of sense. So for example, mercury in an amalgam, the reason they got away with that is because the mercury is bonded. And if it's bonded, it's totally safe on one proviso. If the bond can be broken, especially easily, then you've got a problem. Now, in the case of mercury in an amalgam, the bond is easily broken by friction or heat, acid, and a few other things. So you've got a real problem with amalgams because that mercury is coming off and moving from non-toxic in the bond to very toxic when it's free. So you have to understand that. Now, okay, so aluminum and silica bonded are what zeolite is. The aluminum is totally safe because it's bonded and it's virtually indestructible, certainly in the human body, certainly a nano one in the blood, because that's where the nano one goes in the blood. It doesn't go to the digestion, it goes in the blood. There's no way that bond can be broken. Okay, so now you understand that. So the first problem, what they're trying to do is they're trying to talk about purity and saying a natural zeolite, even clean, there's very tiny trace amounts of certain metals, and the one they talked about was lead, and that they compared it to water, lead in water, and what the safe levels were. So they're lying right there because they're comparing a free toxin floating in the water, which is not good, to a bonded toxin which is completely safe, just like the aluminum in their product. They've got a load of aluminum in their product, but it's okay, it is safe, and it genuinely is, because it's bonded. So that's the first thing. They're trying to treat people who don't know better that a free toxin is the same as a bonded toxin. Okay, but we've got a bigger problem. Here's the bigger problem. They give a lab report for their zeolite, which is completely, utterly useless. Why? Well, first of all, I don't trust the lab report in the first place because there's so many lies with their company, but let's assume it's true. They put their zeolite in a toxic plastic bottle. Now, I think everybody understands and knows that water in a plastic bottle will pull toxins out of it. Okay, so water on its own. So imagine if you've got water full of zeolite, and zeolite is a toxin magnet. It's going to be pulling toxins out of that plastic, petroleum-based product. Okay, so there's no good doing a analysis of how pure something is if that pure thing is going to be delivered in a plastic bottle, because it's no longer going to have any resemblance to what it was to that analysis. So I don't know how toxic the zeolite is, depending on how good it is at removing toxins. And they say it's brilliant, so it's going to be very toxic by the time you get it. Does that, hopefully that makes sense to people? If you're delivering a toxin magnet in a toxic container, that's crazy. Which is why PBX comes in a glass container, and it's very clean. There are some trace heavy metals in there, but they're bonded. That even after a massive, difficult cleaning process to remove all the toxins, some of them were so bonded that outside of the human body, where they can do all kinds of stuff that couldn't be done in the human body, they still can't break that bond. It is not going to break in your blood. Can't. Okay, so they're being very misleading there. So here they are making a claim that the safety studies on their product are Adam, and what's happened to him over 12 months. That's the safety studies they have. Well, if you want to trust that, be my guest. They're claiming that their product is, the big thing about their product is it's purer. Well, that's a lie, because it's in a toxic plastic bottle and we don't have analysis of what the toxin levels are after that. So that's a lie. So everything they claim pretty much is just a lie and another deception. Okay, so if you want a zeolite and you want it to be natural and you want it to be toxin free, then really, I mean, for me, the closing one of the closing lines by Chris Kirkhoff was the most mind-boggling. So first of all, they claimed that their product wasn't synthetic, and as I say, that's a complete lie. But at the end, they actually said that they didn't say synthetic. I'm saying synthetic. Their synthetic zeolite is actually more natural than natural zeolite. That's what they said. So the natural zeolite is less, and the reason that they gave for that is because the natural zeolite is cleaned, and they implied with chemicals, because there probably are companies that clean with chemicals. I don't know, but I can assure you PBX doesn't. Right. So PBX does use a food grade vinegar and heat, but it doesn't use chemicals. So if you take an onion and you pickle it, is it now not natural? Because that's what they want you to believe. They believe that because some vinegar is used in the process, it's now not natural. Or they want you to believe that there's chemicals when there isn't. But anyway, so they're claiming that the natural zeolite is no longer natural and the synthetic zeolite is more the mind boggles. The mind boggles. Like I say, hey Laura, hey Sharon, yeah, I'm good. So I just watched the video and I was laughing, and I just was I almost fell out of my chair, but I didn't quite, because I've got used to the lies and the deception coming from that camp. But it's getting worse when they're claiming that their synthetic is more natural than the natural. You just have to wonder. Now, another thing that's just come out, Coseva, that one of the things they've always lied about is that theirs is smaller than PBX, and that being smaller makes it much more potent and so on. Okay, they claim theirs was 0.9 and that was smaller, and they told various lies to get to that point, which I'm not going to go into here. But anyway, so we've just written to Coseva to get them, because we don't believe that. First of all, ours is smaller than 0.9 at its smallest. Anyway, it's 0.7. But we didn't believe it was 0.9, so we've just challenged Coseva directly and asked them to give their sizes, and they have backtracked on the sizes, and now, according to Coseva, theirs is 20-30 times larger than PBX. So they're now removing the size claims that they've had on their website for the last number of years. It's now all being removed because they've lied about that, and they've been pulled on it. So they're lying about the size. They're lying about whether it's synthetic. They're using what Adam did for a year on his own body as their safety test. Honestly, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. Okay, so if you want to use a zeolite, now I will just say, because I always get pulled on this, people say, but I've certainly know people that have had great results, and that yes, it's a zeolite, and zeolite removes toxins, and if you remove toxins, you're going to get great results. However, the synthetic aspect of it makes it an unknown in terms of safety, and there are lots of claims of people that are removed from the forums when they say these things, but there are lots of claims of people having all kinds of problems. In particular, the big one is kidney issues, so which would be because of the synthetic side of it. That's anecdotal. I have no studies, because there are no studies that have ever been done on its safety, but that's one of the claims. So who would want to use a product that was made by a guy that's been proven to be a fraud? He stole proprietary information on PBX to use as a basis to then create his synthetic version. That's all fact, which can be backed up and proven. You've now got distributors making all kinds of lies. The company itself has lied about the size. They've now been called on that, and they've changed that, and they've lied about other things. They're removing synthetic. They've admitted it's synthetic, but now, because that's turning out to be a bad idea, they used to claim it was better being synthetic because it was purer, but that's not working so well. So now they're pulling all the information about it being synthetic, and you've got distributors consciously lying and saying that it's not synthetic. Listen, there's people that have had life-changing results with TRS, fantastic. But what I would say is you're going to get better results with PBX, or if you don't want to do PBX, then there's one or two other zeolites out there. There's not many. ACV is out there. I don't know if that's synthetic or not. They don't tell us. So by law, apparently, I didn't know this and didn't be until recently, but in the US, you don't have to tell someone if it's synthetic or natural. If you do tell them, it's got to be the truth that you say, but you don't have to. And ACV doesn't tell us. PBX tells us it's natural. It's a natural nano zeolite. We get life-changing results on amazing things. It's less than half the price of the TRS as well. It's in a glass bottle. It's a no-brainer. But people are being pulled in by the lies and deception of Adam Ringham. Adam, I challenge you, come and debate me, mate. You know, come and debate me on this. Let's see who's telling the truth on this, when there's actually a back and forth, and each person can respond, because your lies won't stand up if you're in a debate. Okay, I'll be able to back up everything I say. So come and debate me, or Chris Kirkham, or Tintin, or any of you the big guys from Coseva. Come and debate me. Come and debate me and Lawrence. Come and try, because you've told a lot of lies about Lawrence as well. And yeah, and I've even been told by distributors from Coseva that I'm being sued by Coseva. Coseva haven't told me. You know, I'm not aware of being, but that's the kind of stuff that's coming out from you guys all the time. I'm fed up with it. I'm not allowing it, and I speak up when I see deception. I'm not scared to do that, and you know, I've got the truth on my side. So that's why I can sit here and challenge you, because I've got the truth. And if you come and debate me, which you won't, but if you do, I'll destroy your arguments, and you're going to look very silly. So you're not going to want to do that, because you're protecting an income. So Adam, come and debate me. You're not going to do it, mate, are you? Because you're lying, and you're deceiving, and you're taking people's money. And yes, you are helping people as well, because you've got a zeolite, but not the best zeolite, and you know it, but you just won't tell people. So anyway, there you go. I really felt I just spoke with Adam the other day, and I was saying he was a good guy in that too, and now he's come out and with these lies, I've tried to not get involved, because I liked the guy. To be fair, I liked him. He seemed a decent guy, and I've tried to keep not say anything about him, but he's pushed it now with this latest video. So I'm no longer going to remain quiet. So okay, I hope that I've made sense in my little rant, but they've kind of irritated me with the just absolute deception that they're making, and claims that they just can't back up. And I'd hoped that they wouldn't go down this road, but they are. So I'm going to have to respond just as I would with a vaccine company, giving lies about their vaccines and how great they are, and that they have no side effects and everything's safe, and that they've done studies when they haven't. Same thing. So what I would do with the vaccine companies, I would do with a natural well, natural company as well, because that's what we should be doing if we're really into natural health and we really care about people's health. So that's why I'm doing it. So I hope that people understand that, and I may well, if people have questions, feel free to ask them underneath. If you need some documentation for anything that I've said, then ask and I will provide it. Everything I'm saying I can prove. So I'm not just making this stuff up like they are, but they just make stuff up. So they talked about the zeolite being damaged in the process of cleaning. They're just making it up, absolutely just making it up. Anyway, there you go, guys. That's one of the strongest rants I've had for a little while, and I hope that it was clear and that I made sense to everybody. And like I say, any questions, just ask and I will do my best to get back to you. If necessary, I'll do another video. If by chance Adam Ringham, Chris Kirkhoff, Chinting, I think Talia, whatever her name was, I think I'm pronouncing that correct. If any of them are prepared to debate me, or if off the record they want to have a private conversation that's a little bit more respectful, if you like, a little bit tamer, a little bit calm. If I want to have a private conversation, I'm happy to have a private conversation, but I can't promise that I won't report anything that you say in that private conversation. If you lie to me in a private conversation, then all bets are off. But if you're going to be on an honest conversation, then I'm happy to keep that anonymous. All right, guys, thanks very much. Bye bye.